Today on Race Day, a rough night at Richmond, especially for a two-time champion.
The action track certainly lived up to its nickname tonight. Coming up, we'll have all of the fender rubbing reaction. Now to Matt Yoakum in Texas.
The IRL hit the big state of Texas, and it was Super Tex with a super smile in Victory Lane.
He conducted a total rebuild at the racetrack just weeks before the major racing weekend. Eddie Gossage is our newsmaker this week. And Friday, a tough night on the Texas Oval for some. Highlights from the Craftsman Truckers, plus the Busch Series on the way. Karts Champ cars make tracks in the Motor City. We'll preview the Detroit Grand Prix. It's a wide-open race day, Sunday, June the 7th, 1998. Well, good race day to you. I'm Rick Benjamin, just in off the red eye from Detroit, where the Kart Champ cars battle this afternoon. We'll preview the Detroit Grand Prix for you a little bit later on. But we start things off in Virginia, up at Strawberry Hill, Richmond International Raceway. The Winston Cup stars last night, a cool and controversial Saturday night shootout. Jeff Gordon and Rich Bickle on the front row. And good qualifying runs for Sterling Marlin in the 40 and Kenny Wallace in the 81. And Dale Jarrett certainly on a tear these last couple of weeks. The Dover winner would lead early. Terry Labonte very strong as well. And Johnny Benson was tough. He led several laps. Some wrecking going on early. Robert Presley and Michael Waltrip on the back straightaway. Presley hard into the fence. And Jeff Green's first try, the Sadco Chevrolet comes to grief up in 3 and 4. Jeff and his car owner none too pleased with Ted Musgrave. Hey, you. I'm talking to you. Felix Zabata stops by for a word, too. Jeff Gordon from the pole. He'd go around DJ to take the point here. Much of the middle of the Pontiac excitement, 400 fairly quiet, but it changes with 29 laps left. Rusty Wallace leading, hoping for his first win in more than a year. He and Gordon will touch. They straighten out. Gordon will try again, going for the lead, going to 2. There's more contact. Jeff goes around, up into the wall. Done for the night. On to pit road with a broken radiator and more. Defending champion leaves, tight-lipped. There would be more trouble right off the restart on the backstretch. Ricky Rudd goes around. Chad Little, Todd Bodine, Benson, and Kyle Petty all involved. That's a treacherous part of the Richmond racetrack. Next restart, they clean it up, and look at this. Ward Burton will go around in almost the same spot. Nobody else involved this time. So another restart with 6 to go. Trouble for Kevin LePage, subbing in the 96. Mike Skinner in the 31. Derek Hope in the 30. Fluid everywhere. And officials decide to bring out the red flag, try to finish this one under green. Now, they restart with 3 to go. Jarrett leading Kenny Schrader, Labonte, and Rusty. But Benson would have trouble once again into the wall. DJ gets rooted out of the way by Labonte. Benson into the fence one more time, sets up a final caution. Rusty tries, can't get there. And then there's hand-to-hand combat after the finish between DJ and Labonte. Terry holds on to win. The sparks and the yellow did fly. Labonte's first win of the year. Jarrett gets credit for second. Wallace comes to third. And we'll show you how some of the other stars you're concerned about did last night. Gordon comes home 37th, his second DNF of the season. Our Bob Dillner was in Richmond last night. He says the reaction after the race, well, those involved in the combat saw this one quite differently.
I thought the yellow was coming out when I passed Dale. There was a car in the wall somewhere, and so I was committed under him there and got up under him and got down on the apron a little bit. We got together down there, and I hate it. I know he's a little mad, but I didn't do it on purpose.
The biggest thing was Terry ran all over me going into turn 3, and you know, if he passes me, that's one thing, but turn me sideways and almost wreck, that's another, but that's the way it goes.
And you can't forget about the incident that set up this dramatic finish, one that left even more tempers flaring throughout the garage area.
That was pretty obvious, you know. Somebody can't stand to get past, I guess. I don't know. I come off at turn 2, and I had to move the spot on him, and he pinched me up in the wall, and we rubbed down the back straightaway. Then I finally get in front of him. He just drives in the side of me, spins me out. That's about it.
I drove down the corner. He drove down the corner. We touched. A little racing accident. That was about it. No controversy in this race that I know of.
Another interesting twist to a bizarre day at Richmond occurred just a few hours before race time. That's when team owner Buzz McCall pulled David Green out of the Caterpillar 96 because of a shoulder injury and replaced him with Kevin LePage, who failed to make the show in his normal ride.
We had a really hard crash last week at Dover. We cut a tire going into turn 1, and David hit a ton. It's, in his words, the hardest hit he's ever had. And he re-injured a shoulder break that he had from Bristol last year, and I know that he was uncomfortable. I know that he was soldiering on. I know that he, you know, was going to suck it up, but the fact still remains that he took a tough lick, and I felt it was my call, it was my decision, that I felt that it was better to give him a rest.
Really kind of confused me because my shoulder was feeling okay. I mean, it's sore, but you know, after you hit the wall at Dover, you're going to be sore anyway. But anyway, that was their choice. And I didn't go down easy because I put up a fight because I'm ready to race.
Through all the smoke and controversy, Jeremy Mayfield takes the point lead from Jeff Gordon. Now we head to Michigan next week, a track the Rainbow Warriors have never won at. In Richmond, I'm Bob Dillner.
All right, thanks, Bob. Here's how the point chase looks. The top 5 within 53 points, a tie for 4th there. Mayfield and Wallace back at the top of the charts, neither yet to win this season. We'll have more from Richmond coming up here on Race Day. Lots more action ahead. We'll take you to Texas Motor Speedway. The IRL battling under the lights. You saw it here on TNN. Plenty of action in this one. Kart Champ cars at one of their most scenic venues, Belle Isle Park near Detroit. We'll preview today's Grand Prix. Back to Richmond. The Busch Series stars battled when the dust settled. A native sun had carried the night when Race Day rolls on.
Race Day is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. And by John Deere, who invites you to see the new LT-133, the only lawn tractor with a past as bright as its future.
Well, our Saturday night feature here on TNN Motorsports, the Indy Racing League back in action, the second True Value 500 under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway. 1 year ago, a great race marred by a scoring snafu that led to USAC's departure as the IRL sanctioning body, and then that victory lane fist fight between A.J. Foyt and Ari Lyondike. This time, all the battling was on the racetrack, and you saw it right here. Tony Stewart had the pole last night with Billy Boat alongside. There was trouble early. Billy Rowe wheeling the Blueprint 27 as the field moved away. Rowe would spin and bring out an immediate yellow. They restart on lap 3, and trouble again. 1 lap later, off of 2, Roberto Guerrero has gone around Stefan Gregoire. And Eddie Cheever, the Indy winner on the brakes. Donnie Beechler slams into Gregoire and takes everybody out. Green returns on lap 17. Ari Lyondike, your leader. Boat is second. Kind of reminds you of last year, huh? Robbie Buell and Mark Dismore in the hunt, too. But on lap 32, Boat under Ari in 3 to lead for the first time. A third of the way home, Mark Dismore blows a motor, slams the wall in turn 1. He's okay. The car definitely not. Cross flags means halfway. Boat still in command, but Tony Stewart's closing in. Stewart tough on the backstretch, goes low to lead. Clear. Won't last long. 50 to go. Kenny Brack and Greg Ray fight for third. After the final round of pit stops, Stewart loses another motor. 2nd year in a row at Texas. 2nd race in a row for the defending series champion, Dunn. Watch this, 30 left. Ray, the Texan, goes low. Makes it 3 wide. And with 7 laps left, he will scoot to the lead here. But 1 lap later, Boat comes right back at it. Boat swings inside, retake the point, and ride off into the night. Billy Boat very strong in the Conseco car. AJ is happy. Boat scoots away handily, running the last lap at 226.4 miles an hour to win. Ray comes home in second. Brack gives Foyt's team 2 of the 3 podium spots. Scott Goodyear and Scott Sharp rounding out the first 5. Race Day's Matt Yoakum has more on the IRL battle from the heart of Tejas.
Billy Boat's run to victory in Texas wasn't an easy one. First, he dueled wheel-to-wheel with point leader and pole sitter Tony Stewart. Then he fended off late challenges by both Kenny Brack and Greg Ray. And then when he finally pulled into victory lane, this year he truly was the winner.
You know, this is a great win for us. You know, it took me a year to come back here and get a little vindication, but we came back here and we were prepared to win this race, and we were going to do whatever it took.
It means a lot to me because, you know, the other Texas world, you know, I was fortunate enough to win the IndyCar race there and the stock car race, and NASCAR down there. Remember the 500, I run second. I think Buddy Baker won it, but all in all, it's great anytime you can do good in your home state.
For a small team, this is a victory for us, so this is our best run, and after Indy thinking we could have won there and coming here making some mistakes and finishing second, we're excited.
The bad thing is we were just playing with Boat. You know, we ran in 6th gear, and we're just trying to save fuel and just riding behind him. I mean, we were just waiting until the last stop to really try to run hard. I mean, we ran hard at the beginning and ran away from everybody, and after that, we kind of proved to ourselves that we had a car that we knew could be there at the end. We just had to take care of it, so we just, you know, in the middle part of the race, just tried to take care of a race car and save it for the last run.
The trio of Indy 500 winners in tonight's race had a less than stellar showing. The most disappointed was Eddie Cheever, who was crashed out early on lap 5.
I was coming up through the field. Somebody spun coming out of 2. I think it was Guerrero, hit the wall, and he came right across the track, and everybody just started spinning like a bunch of tops. If everybody would have just kind of kept their cool a little bit, maybe we could have made it by, but it's hard at 200 miles an hour to be dodging bullets.
I just got loose coming out of 2, and, you know, that was it. You know, unfortunately, whatever happened, you know, it wrecked the brake not only for me, but for a couple of other guys, so that's too bad right at the beginning of the race.
When we come out of turn 2 there, I seen the smoke, and then I was just moving around Eddie on the outside, not really for a pass, but just to get some clean air. And in between, and Stefan was there with him, but the smoke, and then he got on the brakes, and then I got on the brakes, but I was already underneath him. And as we went around, I mean, I was actually talking to my crew, telling them I was okay as I was spinning, and then we hit the inside retaining wall, and then things got a little ugly.
Billy Boat's win proved very productive in the championship chase. Boat leaves Texas only 5 markers behind points leader Tony Stewart. I'm Matt Yoakum reporting.
All right, thanks, Matt. Here's how the top 5 stack up. You've got a tie for 5th between Hamilton and Brack, a tie at the top. Stewart and Sharp, 7 races to go. Next up, the mile at New Hampshire in 3 weeks. Now, the Indy Racing League may be adding a prominent Winston Cup driver to its lineup in the near future. Wally Dallenbach Jr. will be strapping into an Indy car. It was in Texas for the True Value 500, watching from pit road in the garage area. We'll get a different view when the series comes back to TMS in September.
The Panther team, which is the Pennzoil team, they're going to run 2 cars here in September, and John Barnes asked me if I'd be interested in driving it, and I said yes, I would. So I'm down here just looking.
Well, the Kart Champ Cars have the spotlight this afternoon for their Detroit Grand Prix. Maybe their highest profile event of the season on the famous street course on Belle Isle, newly lengthened this year. Friday's qualifying runs partly in the wet, so all the fast laps came yesterday. Adrian Fernandez, great year for Patrick, continuing, piloting his Reynard with the 3rd best speed, 114.374 miles an hour. Defending series champ Alex Zanardi right in the thick of things. He backed up his strong early season showing to get the outside of row 1. Quick lap 200s faster than Fernandez at 114.405 miles an hour. But the young Canadian Greg Moore is still dominant, taking his Claire's Mercedes to the pole, 114.859 miles an hour. He won this one a year ago, and Moore certainly likes being back at Detroit.
It's going to be a real fun race. I mean, Alex is second and I'm first, and you know, it just seems to be that way. That Alex and I seem to be fighting no matter where it is or what we're doing. We seem to be fighting for that top spot. It's going to be just a fun championship this year. I mean, the Players Force Type guys are giving me a great car, and it's just a question of we just got to make sure that reliability stays there, and that I'm fast enough to do it.
Nice 4th quick for Richie Hearn, who wrecked his primary car Friday, and Christian Fittipaldi, who hit so hard at Milwaukee last week, rounds out the Fast 10. Kart Champ Cars battle later this afternoon in Detroit. When we continue back to Richmond, we'll get you caught up on the Busch Series action at Paul Sawyer's Short Track Friday night. Plenty more from Texas. The Craftsman Truckers performing in front of their biggest crowd of the year. They did not disappoint. The big story in Texas, the new racetrack. We'll sit down with the man who's been on the hot seat. TMS headman Eddie Gossage, our newsmaker of the week. Well, NASCAR's Busch Grand National Battlers were busy Friday night at the Richmond Tri-Oval, the 3/4-mile racetrack. Last year, in the first race at Richmond, Jeff Burton dominated in his Roush Ford. He led more than half the laps, but it was teammate Mark Martin who took home the trophy. Would we see more of the same this year? After a brief rain delay, they did get underway Friday night. 3 wide off the start, Virginian Wayne Grubb would show the way once the field took the green and went down into turn 1. And that would last until Dale Earnhardt Jr. would get going, looking like daddy, putting the rub to Grubb, getting by to go to the lead. Trouble early, lap 7. Glenn Allen, Andy Santerre, and Jason Keller all mix it up. First caution flag of the night. Dick Trickle in the midst of things all night long. His Schneider Trucking Chevrolet twirls in the back straightaway. No caution. Dick keeps going, avoids trouble. Tough break for the points leader. Mike McLaughlin smoking here with an oil pump problem. He would return, but be many laps down. Good bumper cam look at this. Mark Martin gets out of shape and takes the Winn-Dixie Ford around. Like Trickle, it's nothing. He'd come back for a strong finish. Late in the race, turn 4 trouble. Lance Hooper's 23 gets into Kenny Schrader. Schrader backs it into the wall. Hooper comes down, makes contact with Jeff Fuller in the 89. All three would be done for the night. Hooper ends up in a shower of sparks. Going again now, 38 remaining. Earnhardt Jr. showing the way, but Burton scoots by underneath to lead, but the youngster does not give up. He and Burton go at it nose to tail, door to door, down to the wire. Earnhardt tried several different ways to get to the front and hold it, but he can't. In the end, Burton will get a measure of revenge for last year's Richmond race. Takes his first Busch Series win of 1998. Jeff Burton, your winner Friday night. The rest of the top 10, Dale Earnhardt Jr. second. Kenseth and Wayne Grubb. Mark Martin comes home for fifth. Robert Presley, a nice 10th spot. Our Bob Dillner says that even from victory lane, Burton had plenty to say about the nice drive by young Mr. Earnhardt Jr.
This place is famous for having great races, and everybody got their money's worth tonight. It was a great race. Earnhardt did a super job, and I know he's disappointed, but even, you know, finishing second is nothing to be displeased about. That guy did a great job. He ran me to death.
He taught me a lot about patience and how, you know, you got a rookie back there wanting it worse than he did, and he just kept his cool and stayed in front of me and took everything I could hand to him.
The young guns did look pretty sharp at Richmond, even with little experience. Junior's runner-up finish came in his first start at the track. Matt Kenseth was third in only his second attempt. And how about Wayne Grubb, scoring the pole and a top 5 finish in his first official Busch race at Richmond?
We weren't far off. If we could have just had one more pit stop, I believe we would have been able to do something. We just need that one more pit stop, but we just need to wait and be patient. It'll come to us.
They gave me a good car. We just need to get him to turn a little bit better, and we're just a little too tight all night. And you know, the adjustments made us better all night, but never quite good enough to run with the 9 and the 3. So come out of here third and gain a whole bunch of points, and go to Pikes Peak, and we'll try to win there.
Kenseth rebounded from a tough outing at Dover last week, but a couple of other title contenders took a turn for the worse. Buckshot Jones crashed his primary car in qualifying and was stuck in the rear of the field during the Hardee's 250. Point leader Mike McLaughlin's 100-point cushion evaporated like the oil did in his car when the Gould's Pump Chevy sprung a leak while he was running fit.
It's not easy, you know, it's a competitive game, and everybody's going to have their share of bad luck and misfortune, and just have to play it out and see what happens. It's going to be a good, tight race. That's what everybody wants to see anyway.
You can get down about it and everything. You know, I'm pretty upset that we all are. We tore our car up in qualifying. Got this car out and ended up having a brake problem, and we never got a chance to see what the chassis was like. And I don't know, we were awful tonight, but I can tell you what, we'll never come back and look like that again. I can guarantee you that.
We needed the points and get this thing back in the points lead and put a little distance on them and wrap it up so we can, you know, get back to Mooresville and throw us a party for the year's over with.
This car that Jeff Burton brought to Richmond is very, very special. In fact, Jeff tells us that he sprinkles a little magic dust on the car because it's led every race but one that it's run. And in 3 races here with this car, he finally scored his first victory in 11 career Busch Series starts. At the action track, I'm Bob Dillner.
All right, thanks, Bob. Mike McLaughlin's point lead cut to just 9 now over Kenseth from 113. Randy LaJoie up to 4th, 2 points ahead of Dick Trickle. Next up, Busch Series goes to Pikes Peak in Colorado for the first time next Sunday. Well, we continue. First test of the new track surface at Texas, a big success. The great relief of our newsmaker this week. We'll hear from Eddie Gossage next.
You know, it's a great speedway. We've been told by people all over the world it's the finest speedway in the world, but we knew that 1.5 ribbon of asphalt between the white walls was what was wrong with it.
Mack Trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK. Race Day, brought to you by LA West Luxury Vans, the world's ultimate sport utility vehicle. LA West Luxury Vans, available at select Ford dealerships nationwide. Call us at 800-786-VANS. By Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, IndyCar, World of Outlaws, IRL, and a major sponsor of NHRA. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer needs at 800-800-1230.
He's in one of the highest profile positions in auto racing. He's familiar with pressure. The Executive Vice President of Texas Motor Speedway, Eddie Gossage, is our newsmaker this week. He built one of the sports palaces a year ago. This spring, had to rebuild the track surface after that controversy-packed Winston Cup weekend in April. Race Day's Matt Yoakum sat down with Eddie Gossett just before the first green flag at the new Texas Motor Speedway.
Well, Eddie, 2 years ago at this time, the track wasn't even yet paved. Since completion, you've held 2 Winston Cup races, 2 Busch races. This weekend, your second IRL and truck events. Even the Rolling Stones have been here. Your first time at the helm, has it been everything you imagined, or a lot of surprises have popped up that you didn't expect?
Well, it's like wrestling an alligator. You know, you get the head under control and the tail whacks you out of nowhere. You get the tail and the head comes around and bites you, and you never know what's going to happen next in a lot of ways. And had you told me in February we're going to have problems with water coming through the racetrack in April at the Winston Cup race, I'd have laughed at you, you know, but it happened. And man, you never know what's going to happen next. So, you know, as I sit here, everything's in great shape for the weekend, and I hope it's a quiet weekend in all the right ways and a loud weekend in all the right ways.
Did those problems that you experienced in April give Texas Motor Speedway somewhat of a black eye and even embarrass yourself and Bruton Smith?
We're not happy about it, and obviously felt so strongly about it that we jumped on it immediately after the April Winston Cup race and completely tore this racetrack up. You know, it's a great speedway. We've been told by people all over the world it's the finest speedway in the world, but we knew that 1.5 mile ribbon of asphalt between the white walls was what was wrong with it. That was the one thing holding it back from reaching its full potential.
Did you feel pressure from outside sources or just pressure from yourselves of wanting to have a state-of-the-art, top-notch facility to make those changes and correct the problems?
Well, you know, Bill France said some real strong things here in April, and I don't blame him. At the same time, NASCAR didn't have to tell us to fix these things. You know, we knew we needed to fix them. Once that water problem came up, it was like, okay, that's the last straw. We've got to do something to make everything right on the racing surface. And so we agreed to do it. Bruton and I talked about it on Saturday. On Sunday, Mr. France came into town and he told us what we already knew. We needed to do something and do it in a big way. And yet we tried to go above and beyond what even he suggested we do. And so we want him to be happy. We want NASCAR to know that we value that relationship with them, and we want them here as many times as we can get them here. And we just want to be everybody's favorite speedway, whether it's the sanctioning bodies or the competitors, the fans. So we're doing everything we can to please them.
Most tracks, when they have major construction projects or repaving, they plan it out 1 or 2 years in advance. You had less than 2 months from the April Winston Cup event to this weekend. How did you manage to get it all done?
You just go to work. You just, I mean, you can accomplish anything. And so many times you hear about people saying, we can't do this or we can't do that, but I got to tell you, that's not the way we do it. It's not the way Bruton Smith does things. We're going to do everything we can all the time to make everything right. And so we wanted to let everybody know how important they are to us.
And how is this different from the old Texas Motor Speedway that the Winston Cup stars raced on back in April?
Well, there's a couple of things. Some things you don't see. There are drainage systems that are under the racetrack, that are outside the racetrack, below the racetrack on the straightaways and the turns, and those are things you're not going to see. The banking now comes further through turn 4 before it starts to flatten out. As you go down the front straightaway, it starts banking up faster than it used to, and that's the transition changes the drivers talked about.
Ever since the inaugural event here last year, both you and Bruton have been up front with your desire to have a second Winston Cup race. Do you think that the problems that you've experienced over the past year and a half might have hindered the opportunity to get a second Cup date?
I don't have any doubt. In fact, I've been told by NASCAR this week that the NASCAR Winston Cup Series will be here twice. When, I don't know, but it will come here twice eventually. What we need to focus on and what we're trying to do is to run this speedway as best we possibly can. I think they want to be here. We got to give them a reason to make that happen.
What is next now for the Texas Motor Speedway?
Once we work out of our teething problems, we're going to succeed in a big way, and we just want to be a big part of the success of the American motorsports scene for years and years to come.
Well, Texas Motor Speedway will host the IRL once again this fall, Sunday, September the 20th, and we, of course, will be there. Time for a break on race day, and time to remind you about our website, country.com, your place for all things country and all things in motorsports. Our question this week, which driver has the all-time victory mark at Richmond? Find out on race stats at country.com. We'll be right back with more of Race Day. Time for the second half hour of Race Day. Here's Bob Dillner in Virginia.
The Iceman prevails on a very cool night here in Richmond. We'll speak to the winner of the Pontiac Excitement 400 coming up. Now to Matt Yoakum in Texas.
The Truck Series stars hit the newly repaved high banks. Big Track Jack was on the pole, but it was a Hoosier in victory lane.
The Pennzoil World of Outlaws in a New York State of Mind. Highlights from the Empire State on the way in the second half hour of Race Day. It is good to have you with us this Sunday. A strong run last night at Richmond for Terry Labonte, the two-time Cup champion, getting his 20th career Winston Cup win. A win laced with no small amount of controversy, though. Our Bob Dillner caught up with the winner after the checkers flew at Richmond.
This first June night race at Richmond was definitely a wild one. Terry Labonte here, usually noted for his calm, cool, and good temperament, but you were really hungry for that win, and you went for it.
Well, we had a shot there at it, and you know, I thought that we were going to be racing back to the caution again, and I had got past Schrader, and I was trying to get past the 88, and we got together down there in the corner, and I got by him, and then the caution did come out for the last lap, and then I wasn't sure if we got the flag or if we were racing back to the checkered, and I thought we got it, and then I saw Rusty trying to race me back, so I just held him off there, and it was a good win for us. It was a good run for our Kellogg Chevy. Ran good all night long, and we needed this win bad.
Tell me about that next to last caution. You came in, a couple others didn't. Was it a gamble?
Well, you know, I really felt like that was the right thing to do, was come in and get 4 tires, and those guys stayed out on the old tires, and the caution laps really played in their hand because, you know, the advantage of the new tires wasn't that good because we ran so many laps under caution.
A lot of controversy tonight, and spoke to Dale. He wasn't too happy. Your take?
Well, I was committed up under him there, and, you know, I got down on the apron, and he was coming down, and we got together, and, you know, I hate it. He'll get over it.
Terry Labonte with his first win in 3 years at the action track, and his first win since last fall at Talladega. In Richmond, I'm Bob Dillner.
Thanks, Bob. This is the tough part of the Winston Cup year for many teams, trying to stay focused on winning each week and gathering points while getting ready for important races in the weeks to come. Several top teams taking time to test this week at Indianapolis and Pocono. First Indy. The roar of the stock cars replacing that of the Indy cars. Bobby Labonte will be one of 5 drivers with $1 million on the line August 1st. Also in the Goodyear tire test, Jeremy Mayfield, who had a shot at the No Bull Million at Charlotte last month without cashing in. He's just hoping he won't still need his first career victory when they go to the Brickyard.
You got to have good fuel mileage. You can't leave nothing on the table, and it's getting that way everywhere, but here's pretty different. I mean, everything's got to be on the money to win here.
I'm doing this test here for Goodyear. I've done one here for them before, and we'll come back here in a few weeks and test on our own again with a lot of other cars. But, you know, this won't give us like an advantage, but this, you know, just getting laps on the racetracks around here is going to help.
Several teams also heading to another flat 2.5-mile track, Pocono International Raceway in Pennsylvania. In 2 weeks, you can see their first 500-miler of the year here on TNN. Ward Burton running in his MBNA Pontiac. Kevin LePage still unsponsored in the 91. Chad Little there, too. Little running a solid season, hoping the extra test time might get him to victory lane.
And we're working just really on race type of setups and just trying to run good, consistent laps and seeing what kind of tire wear we're going to get.
We get a lot of feedback. We learn a lot of things. We're trying a lot of things. So we'll be able to eliminate different things from that trial and error during the test.
It's been a hectic couple of weeks for Hut Strickland, released from his ride with the Stavola brothers after missing the show at Charlotte a couple of weeks ago. As we told you here last Sunday, Hut has been hired to drive a second Andy Petrie car at Daytona next month. Well, this week, Strickland was among those testing at Pocono, this time in a Robert Yates Taurus. Strickland and Kenny Irwin in identical black number 28s. Strickland happy to be contributing to the Yates effort.
You know, I'm really, you know, relieved, you know, to be doing something different, especially to getting a good car like Robert has, you know, and everything. It's a good race team, and I can come here and I can learn a lot and maybe help them some too. So it's a good deal for me all the way around.
As for Hut's old ride, the Circuit City Chevrolet, Buckshot Jones did not qualify the car in Richmond this weekend. RaceDay has learned that veteran Morgan Shepherd will be in the car next week in Michigan, although talks are underway between the Stavolas and Buckshot's dad, Billy Jones, about the young Georgian maybe giving up his chance at Rookie of the Year in Winston Cup next year so he can run more Cup races for the team this season.
I would hate to do it, but, you know, if I could get to run, a lot more races this year, I would give up the rookie status. That's just something kind of, I guess, we've done. In every series we've been in, we've tried to, like in the Busch series, we didn't run for Rookie of the Year because we got to run, I think it was 8 races. And, you know, I think that experience paid off, you know, the next year.
Shepard was out of the Sabco Chevrolet that he'd driven the past couple of weeks, replaced by Jeff Green this weekend in the 46. Green qualified in the top 10. Car owner Felix Sabates thinks Green might be a good fit for that machine.
I didn't want to make a long-term commitment to Jeff, but I think Jeff has a tremendous future. And maybe we got lucky. Maybe we might just find a driver for the future.
Yeah, there's more to come on race day. The Friday night show at the Texas High Banks, the Craftsman Truckers finding plenty of speed at TMS. And this afternoon, the only North American appearance for Formula One this year in Montreal. A preview of the Canada Grand Prix coming up. NASCAR's Craftsman Truckers back on the big racetracks this weekend after a couple of short track trips and last Sunday's road course run at Watkins Glen. It's our Mopar Performance Update. The Prado Auto Parts 400 Friday night here on TNN. Trucks becoming the first to try out the redesigned banking at Texas Motor Speedway. Trouble on lap 3. Rookie Scott Walters gets loose, collects Mike Bliss hard into the inside wall. Forrest said he'll try to get by on the low side. Bad idea. He and Greg Biffle get involved as well. And there would be plenty more action in this one. Brian Refner through the tri-oval. Taps the wall, gets a tap from Lonnie Rush. His night ends in a shower of sparks. And Jimmy Hensley, a little wiggle up in one. Backs the Petty Dodge hard into the concrete. Lap 108, Kenny Allen with a little help from Barry Bodine here. They'll tangle another of the 9 cautions on the Friday night fun and excitement, which was not over yet. Point leader Jack Sprague, who dominated early. Maybe he wants to take the 24 to Baja. A little off-roading here, almost up and over. 21 laps left. Wayne Anderson and Greg Biffle get a little too close as they battle for second. Anderson gets loose. Both challengers go out of the show. Toby Porter in the Tyler Jet 17 first start, also caught up in the fray. This night ends on flambe there. That leaves this one to Tony Raines. He will hold off the hard-charging rookie Andy Houston when the green comes back out. Look at that. Raines on a big track gets his second truck victory in 3 weeks.
Fuel stop got us a little behind the first half, and I kind of got a little excited there, and the crew calmed me down, and they did a great job in the halftime break. And you know, I don't know what to say. It's bank track seem to like me, or I like them. But this is a big racetrack, big purse, big crowd. You know, it's really great.
Andy Houston gets his best Truck Series finish in second. Rutman with a nice third, and a best for Kevin Harvick, who comes home fourth. 9 cautions for 46 laps in this one. Our Matt Yoakum says it was a tough night for the defending Truck Series champion and several others.
Jack Sprague showed his super speedway prowess tonight. Unfortunately, he also showed his dirt track abilities. After trouble off turn 4, he lost many points and the victory in Texas.
It was just an awesome truck. I just bided my time riding around there and, you know, keeping him back 4, 5, 6 truck lengths and come up on a lap truck, and he never lifted. So it's one of them deals. Got us again. We didn't get to win at Texas. Beautiful place. Love this place. I'm going to win it next year.
Problems either can just happen, or you create them for yourself, or somebody else creates them for you. And I guess the world kind of saw what happened on that deal.
Sprague wasn't the only driver with misfortune. Other top contenders surprisingly fell by the wayside.
Fred said go, and I turned about 8,400, I guess. He started vibrating going into one. She locked up. So, I don't know. Just one of them things that happened, man. I tell you what, it's the funnest I've had at Texas Motor Speedway. Just going to lose some points to Jack Sprague and the rest of these guys, but we'll get them back. Long season.
Truck was absolutely fantastic. You commonly hear that when a driver gets out of a race, but we've kind of proved it out there leading. Anytime you pull away from that number 24 Chevrolet, you're awfully tough.
Good luck did shine bright in the Texas night for a few drivers. The biggest benefactor, Andy Houston, who finished second.
It was a good night for us, you know, just a little tight there off the corner, so and that's where he was beating me at. But, you know, we can't complain too much.
Another top 3 finish.
Yay! Holy mackerel!
Well, I got to pat. I was going to pat myself, but I got to pat the whole team.
It was a great run for us, great run for Royal Crown. Kevin Cram, these guys are doing such a good job. We come out here not knowing about our Speedway program, and I think these guys have got it on track.
The truck teams now load up, heading home for a much-needed 1 weekend off after the emotion-filled run in Texas. Some left elated, some dejected. Now it's off in 2 weeks to Bristol for a run in Thunder Valley, which should be emotion-filled, where anything can and usually does happen. In Texas, I'm Matt Yoakum for Race Day.
All right, thanks a lot, Matt. When we continue, 1997, a grand tour for Kart's Pac West team of Mo Guzman and Mark Blundell. 4 trips to victory lane in the second half of the season. This year's been a long, strange trip to nowhere. We'll assess their situation coming up. Formula One makes its only trip to North America this weekend. The Grand Prix of Canada in about 40 minutes at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. The son of the man the circuit is named for, Jacques Villeneuve, qualifies 6th, but once again, qualifying was a McLaren show. David Coulthard will have the pole this afternoon with teammate Mika Hakkinen alongside. The 7th pole in as many races for Team McLaren. Michael Schumacher will start 3rd today. His brother Ralph will line up 5th. Grand Prix of Canada in Montreal later on. And the other major road race of the weekend, the world's preeminent endurance classic, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, wrapping up a couple of hours ago. The Toyotas, Mercedes, and Porsches dominant this year at Le Sarthe. The Toyotas very strong, but the dominant cars as the day into night into day event wound down. The Porsches, the revised 1998 GT1s, the Alan McNish machine, the 26 car, trouble for one Porsche there. McNish, Aiello, and Ortelli, the winners. Gerhard Mueller and Bob Wollek finished second in an identical car. American Bill Auberlen, part of the team that finishes 4th this weekend in the new BMW F1 GTR in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So far, the kart season has gone according to form. The Target Ganassi team, again, very strong. 4 victories, dominating the points chase. It's been a disappointing year for a team expected to challenge the Target twins. The Pac West pair, Mark Blundell and Mauricio Gugelmin, has gone nowhere thus far. After combining for those 4 victories in 1997, neither driver has come close to a top 5 this year. A situation they are hoping to change starting right now.
In 1997, Blundell and Gugelmin got stronger as the year wore on, grabbing those 4 victories and 3 poles after mid-season. But this year, nothing's gone right. At Milwaukee, Blundell battled a poor handling Reynard, coming home 12th, while Gugelmin lost a left rear tire after contact with Greg Moore. He finished 21st. Now the team's heading into what they think is their time of year.
Well, I've got a great deal of confidence in terms of, knowing that we can go and win races because we've already done that. History says that that's a done deal, but going into some of those tracks that we did win on last year, obviously it's going to give us a bit of a boost to say, look, this is where we left with the laurels and we left with the trophy. Let's try and do it again.
We have some good super speedways coming, which I really perform well, and street and road courses, which is where I've been brought up from Europe. So looking forward to that.
The problems for Pac West began back in the spring with the decision to start 1998 in their 1997 Reynard Hondas.
Mercedes were developing a new engine, and we had some concerns. We did finish the season last year on a crest, and we thought we could continue, but obviously we fell into a couple of holes. That compounded itself, actually, because we were delayed in bringing out our 98 cars. We didn't know them as well as we could have. And we're a little bit behind the learning curve on these new ones as well.
The team finally rolled out their 98 cars with the new Mercedes motors for Nazareth at the end of April, but neither driver would finish. Now it's back to the road courses. Detroit, where both drivers were in position to win last year, and Portland, where Blundell scored the closest victory in kart history by less than a quarter of a second.
Winners don't quit, but quitters don't win, and that's the deal. That's how we got to look at it.
Gugelmin's first kart victory came last season at Vancouver. His 3 poles included that incredible lap of 240.9 miles an hour in California. Just like his British teammate, the Brazilian has no doubt he'll soon be back in victory lane.
No doubt at all. It's just a matter of getting everything together. Luck, the car working well, I'm driving well, and the wins are going to come for sure.
But probably not this weekend. The teammates will line up in the 11th row in Detroit. More to come this Sunday morning into New York State with the World of Outlaws, their annual Empire State Tour with some rough riding. The highlights coming up. The ASA Stock Car Stars battle this afternoon at La Crosse International Raceway, Wisconsin. The AC Delco 300. Rick Beebe on the pole with a new track record. 2-time winner this year, Mike Miller, will line up 2nd. Gary Sadamont starts 4th. And Mike Eddy, the 7-time series champion, goes 8th this afternoon at La Crosse. When the calendar hits June, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws take to the road, go to upstate New York with their road show this weekend at places like Rolling Wheels in Canandaigua. First, let's go to the Wheels on Wednesday night. Johnny Herrera would lead the first 20 laps from outside the front row in his 47 car. Andy Hillenberg very strong, though, in his Black Deuce, grabbing the lead through traffic on the back straightaway. From Herrera, he'd lead the rest of the way. Hillenberg grabs the A-Main win Wednesday night. Jeff Swindell, Stevie Smith, and Tyler Walker at the top 5. Thursday night, the Canandaigua Speedway in the Finger Lakes of New York. Gary Stanton's Mopar machine. Craig Nolansky driving, and Craig doesn't know which way they went. Here, goes around in 1. He's okay. Nobody hits him. Anyway, late in the going, battle boils down to Dale Blaney and brother Dave's Amoco machine and Danny Lasowski in the Beef Packers 83. Lisowski goes around the high side, holds off Blaney to grab the win. Donnie Schatz, Mark Kinzer, Johnny Herrera, your first 5. The Outlaws will visit this weekend in Missouri. Now, it is maybe the biggest event of the year on the NTV Trans Am Tour. The road racing stock cars performing in front of a huge Motown audience this weekend, part of the Detroit Grand Prix. Last time out in the rain Monday, Memorial Day at Lime Rock in Connecticut, Lou Gelati used pit strategy in his Mustang to end Paul Gentilosi's Corvette domination. Now, if you don't want to know who won the Trans Am at Detroit, look away. All right. Here's how the Johnson Controls 100 finished. And you can see the Motor City 100, our coverage of the Johnson Controls 100 this afternoon, 4:30 Eastern Time on TNN Motorsports. We're going to back things down for a moment. As we take a break, here's a look at what's racing ahead on television this week. We, of course, are back next Sunday at 11 Eastern. Race Day returns in just a moment. Back now to tell you about our Mopar Performer of the Week. Many good choices. Certainly Jeff Burton, Terry Labonte, others have had great weeks, but our pick is Billy Boat. He's been fast since his first IRL ride a year ago. Boat darn near won the first IndyCar show in Texas back in 1997. This year he was not to be denied. After that Indy disappointment when he was on the pole, Boat was afloat all weekend long. The former midget standout holding off Texan Greg Ray to take the win last night in the True Value 500K. Billy Boat is our Mopar Performer of the Week. Well, that's Race Day this Sunday. Thanks for being with us. Next week, back at our usual time again, 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Full coverage from Michigan, where the Winston Cup Stars run for the first time this year. We'll also preview the NHRA at Columbus, Ohio, and the NTV Trans Am at Mid-Ohio. Have a fast week. We'll see you here next Sunday on Race Day.
Race Day is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Visit, experience, shop Simpson World, a racer and race fan superstore. Now open in Mooresville, North Carolina, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Torrance, California. For more information, call 1-800-71-RACIT or visit our website at www.simpsonraceproducts.com. Radio communications are provided by Racing Radios. For all your business and racing communications needs, as well as scanners and frequency lists, call on Racing Radios at 1-800-669-1522. Race fans, you make the call. New LCI residential long-distance customers receive 30 minutes of free domestic calling and the World Card Plus calling card featuring participating drivers. Don't delay. Call now 1-888-TEAM-LCI. For everything automotive on the World Wide Web, www.theautochannel.com.